Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so now back we are with the exploration guide for Final Quest in Act 8.1, and as always we're basically gonna go from one side to another, go over each path, best counters, a little bit on the boss, but the boss will have a separate guide. For those of you in the biggest rush, here is a small write-up basically identifying each and every single lane and kind of suggesting some of the better counters. And that's it. If you're in a rush, you can take a screenshot of this one. And if you're not in a rush, then let me go over this in a bit more detail. And I'll bring this up before end of the video yet again. So we're going to start with this first path, which is very cheesable, very fun, and also doesn't give Black Widow any nodes, because every other path that you do will give Black Widow kind of a node that in most cases is quite annoying. But this one kind of makes the Black Widow itself the easiest, and this lane is also quite easy because of seeing red and Caltrops combination. Basically you can cheese it completely with Omega Red, with Colossus, with Horseman Cable. That's a very fun time with Horseman, OG Storm. APOC itself is a very powerful champion for this lane, and that is pretty much all that you need to know. Just abuse that Horseman bleed immunity with all sorts of cool effects that mutants get when they are bleeding. You can bring in a variety of champions, and you can have very quick and easy time getting to the boss. There aren't any too difficult fights on the lane as well, so that's pretty much perfect. Just be aware of that Magneto House of X and bring in a non-metal champion for that one fight. Moving on to the next lane, this one's actually quite good because it makes Colossus OP when you fight Black Widow, because for each armor up effect the attacker boosts. Basically armor ups are counted as prowesses. However, counter-attack evade attackers inflicted with armor break, reducing armor rating by 15%. So you do need to be wary that you might not want to use the counter-attack evade all that much. But on the bright side, all your armor ups can count as prowess effects, and that is definitely going to help you with the final phase. As for the lane itself, you basically just want to use tech champions and parry a lot. Warlock is great for this, just basically parry heavy, make sure opponent never uses special attack. That's the node of the Power Technician that we have done in the Cav EQ quite often. Special Burst Lockdown makes this lane a bit more difficult because but if they do activate special attack, you get inflicted with an armor break. So you better hope that you had an extra, or it's going to renew quickly enough. So ideally, just don't let opponent use a special attack ever. Just parry a lot and then drop some heavies and specials of your own, and you're going to be golden. So Nimrod is amazing for this lane, Warlock is great, Omega Sentinel is great, Hulkbuster did great as well, and then obviously, you know, most of the tech champions that do have access to armor ups easily will do well here. You can definitely use Civil Warrior if you want, you can use Captain America Sam Wilson, you can use Guardian, you can use Guillotine 2099, especially because she has extra power drain available to her. So plenty of options for this path, and it's quite straightforward and easy. Let's move on to the next one. A Serpent's Edge. When corrupted armor reactivates, it else gains one of the following buffs at random: Pierce buff or Amplify buff. This is not too bad. It doesn't have much of a consequence in the fight overall, especially if you can evade the special attack, and they are quite easy to evade. Other than that, this is basically weapon special 2 node with bob and weave and supercharge. And my answer to pretty much all of this lane was very simple: Ebony Maw. Because of bob and weave lane is always Ebony Maw cheese, and you don't even need to try and access that weapon node here at all, because you will have trouble parrying in most of the cases, because opponents are going to be missing every single hit, unless you want to disable bob and weave node. But yeah, Ebony Maw absolutely cheeses this lane. Other than that, it's very straightforward as well. Just bring in your CGRs or any other champion with sizable level 2, parry before you're ready to drop that level 2, and happy days, you're going to be doing a lot of winning with massive special attacks. So it's not too difficult. Now, this lane, initially I actually overlooked this lane and approached it completely wrongly, but Turtling, Armored Assault, Boost Buff, Armor Up, Parry Vulnerability, and From My Cold Dead Hands. So basically, opponents are going to be getting armor ups, and you do not want to nullify or armor break or stagger or fate seal the opponents. What you want to do lies in the secret of the Boost Buff Armor Up, where when struck with a critical hit, the defender will remove one armor up buff to reduce the damage to 0. And that combined with parry vulnerability, giving you extra damage, has this lane basically made for high crit champions. So your Black Cats, Black Widow, Deadly Origins, your Maulmans, your Shang-Chi's, your that would CGR work because it would be the nullify, but basically you just want to crit a lot with, I don't know, Karnak or whatever other high crit rate champion you have. It's going to be very easy because you will be critting a lot. If you are critting a lot, then you're going to be taking away all of the armor ups that they have anyways, and thanks to parry vulnerability you have a decent amount of damage increase, so it's actually a very quick and fun lane. Now this node on Black Widow, let us check that one out. We have every 10 hits that attacker combo meter styles gains a cleanse passive. This one can be quite annoying. This one can be quite annoying because she's going to make your parries fail. So be aware of that. Now we have Agile Reflectors. Corrupt the armor against 50% chance to reflect incoming stun effects. This one also can be slightly dodgy. Basically, you want to use stun immune champion against Citalis, or just kind of don't stun her, or you can get stunned back. Again, this is a fairly finicky, somewhat annoying node on the boss, but the path itself has the crack in the armor, defensive transference, inflated ego, and I can do this all day. This is actually very straightforward lane. Because of defensive transference, where the defender gains a permanent armor up buff, increasing armor rating by 10% per stack whenever the attacker blocks one of their attacks. What you want to do is you want to bring in a Ronin, parry a bunch of times, and then infinitely stun lock all the opponents. And you can do that even against Emma Frost at the end, because you can armor break her with a heavy attack. Just make sure you get to 10 armor ups and you'll do fine. If you apply Odin's pre-fights to your Ronin, it's going to go quicker because of the... Oh no, never mind, you don't need Ronin's pre-fights, my bad. But yeah, Ronin can cheese all of this lane in itself. Or you can choose to play normally and just bring in Cosmic Champions that have plenty of armor breaks, and then make sure that you parry a handful of times before you start doing damage to your opponent. And other than that, we know the crack in the armor node from Cavi Qs, where you gain Fury, so you can use Silver Surfer, you can use CGR, so on and so forth. You just also need to be aware of the inflated ego node, where before you want to do damage, you basically have to parry them 3 times to give them those buffs, and then it's smooth sailing. But again, the easiest way there is just the Ronin cheese. The next path here with Trap Serpent, prowess passives are no longer gained when knocking spells down into a trap. Instead, gain additional prowess when the attacker is inflicted with a root, or when they break root effect with special attack. So this is kind of reverting the idea where you gain prowesses against the boss when you root yourself, basically. So it is kind of annoying, and that means against the boss, with this node, you ideally want to use champions who gain prowess effects themselves, because otherwise it's going to go significantly more slow. But as far as the lane itself goes, it's a perfect playground for Mr. Fantastic, for Void, for a bunch of other science champions. Actually, Black Widow Deadly Origins does extremely well here, because it's the weapon node with non-damaging debuffs, and power to cover, and weapon Eternal Flame Ember is going to make it so that opponents have access to a whole bunch of extra power. So if you have effects like Petrify or Black Widow's Poison Curse, you're going to do phenomenal here, because you're going to have more power to play with, and you're going to be dealing 200% increased damage. So this is, yeah, science champions primarily, your Voids, your Mr. Fantastics, your Anti-Venoms, what have you, champions that have access to Petrify ideally. She-Hulk should be doing quite well here as well with her level 2 Petrify and Taunt mechanics. Ideally bring in Mr. Fantastic, Power Sting synergy, and you're going to have very, very, very good time. And the boss, I will do a separate guide. I already uploaded a solo, but I will create a guide where I kind of explain everything that is happening in that solo fight and how to do it. Unfortunately, obviously now she's bugged, so I probably will have to do another guide once the VFX get fixed, but it is what it is. Let's just check out the read up very quickly, and that will be it for 8.1 guides. So first node, we have Seeing Red. That is super easy. Horseman Cable Cheese, Horseman Storm Cheese, Omega Red, Colossus, Sauron is going to do great there. APOC itself does amazing. Second lane, Power Technician, basically Omega Sentinel, Nimrod, Warlock, Hulkbuster, Guardian, War Machine, Guillotine 2099, and basically parry a lot. Weapon Special 2 node, that's Ebony Mochis, CGR, Mr. Fantastic, Void, Doom, Tiger, Diablo, Longshot, all will do fantastic there as well. Armored Assault, you need high crit champions, so Hitmonkey, Black Widow, Daily Origins, Elsa, Moleman, Karnak, Shang-Chi, so on and so forth. Crack in the armor is Ronan Cheese. I can bring in CGR, Surfer, King Groot. King Groot should be doing amazing there. Arcus, CMM, Annihilus, all of those champions ought to work well enough. Now we have weapon debuffs, Mr. Fantastic, Lair, Void, She-Hulk, Pig, Anti-Venom, Cap, Infinity War, Gwen, so on and so forth. And some of the best counters that I have personally used are Apoc, Kitty, Herc, Hitmonkey, Nick, OG Storm, but I'm sure that pretty much any champion can be used against this boss. This boss is one of the easiest ones of these special final bosses of the chapters. Even with the VFX bugs, it's definitely doable. But here we are. That's it. All Act 8.1 exploration guides are done, and I hope you guys found them worthwhile and useful. See you later. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about